How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, man. How about yourself, man?
I'm feeling good, feeling good.
I'm glad you did this.
Alright. So, who is Leon Clement? For anybody who may not know.
Um, how many words do I get? It's not enough.
However many you need.
Say first, he's a brother. Second, a just man. Then third, a son. I think that pretty much. It's pretty much who he is.
It's a powerful three.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful three. So, where were you raised, and how would you say it molded you into who you are today?
I was raised in New York in a small town, a city called Peekskill. I feel like the fact that it was a city helped me, molded me really into who I was, who I am. Like that it was a small city, that it was a community still.
Humble beginnings type of time.
Yeah, more so like the relationships was more close knit, but the pace was still available.
Got it. And how would you describe what it was like in your childhood to someone who has no idea?
It was my childhood was protected. My whole existence, I feel like, has been protected. Yeah,
Okay.
so I would say that about my childhood.
And in what ways, like, would you?
I mean, I'm the oldest of all my mother's kids and stuff like that. But I was always hanging around the older crowd as I was growing up. I always had uncles around me or people that took to my personality. So I felt like I always felt like I was safe or I was protected.
No, it's a very good way of describing it. And what would you say? What was high school like for you in New York?
Mm. Got my GED and it's at 16 or 17. So high school was pretty much the same situation. It was pretty much me going and hanging out with the older kids doing things that didn't have nothing to do with school. It was pretty much me learning how to get back and forth through different towns. I was visiting the college while I was in high school with a guy that was like one of the older dudes that was going to college and stuff like that. He would still come back, pick me up, and take me with him to college. So I was on a college campus at a young age. And then from there, just being able to, I guess like I said, my personality, I was able to get outside real well. So I pretty much then, I was in class with my GED and the teacher didn't know it. Because it was more of a hangout type of thing.
Got it.
Right.
And when you said that doing things that didn't have nothing to do with school, what would that consist of?
I mean, there's plenty of people in my high school years. There's a couple guys. I mean, if I could, I don't want to drop their names or nothing like that.
You don't gotta drop names.
Yeah, but a couple of them is one that mom just had open house, so we was just there all day long doing whatever we wanted to do. We always had vehicles at a young age. Like I said, it was a city, so we had city access, but it was population probably wasn't no better than 13,000 people. But it was still classified as a state. We still are a city. So it was all kinds of things to get into. It was all kinds of competition at that point in time. Little things, just in anything. Little crews over here, guys that hung with certain guys, and just certain access that you was available to get.
And were you into like any sports or anything, or was you more like a go hang out at the park maybe.
Nah, we were we were different. It was different for me. My size, my stature, it was all different for me. Now, when I was younger, I played football, like Pop Warner football and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my mom, she put an end to that. She made sure I went to church on Sundays. The Pop Warner games was on Sundays and church was on Sundays. So even though the coach came knocking on the door for me to play, even though I was valuable to the team, that just wasn't, sports just wasn't the route for me. My thing was way different. It was way more, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I played sports, but it wasn't organized.
Got it.
Yeah.
And what would you say was your wildest moment
In life,
in your life so far?
or in my childhood, or
We'll stay on childhood. So in your childhood.
mm, my wildest moment in my childhood. I can't. I'm looking to give you which one would be the wildest. I don't have. I can't. I gotta give you an answer to that question, man. I wish we could double back on that one so I could give you something
You can
better.
double back.
Yeah, let's double back. Let's double back to that one right there.
Okay. So, how long did you live in New York before you ventured off into other places?
So I was about 26, 25, 26 years old.
And where did you go?
Um, California, by way of Alabama, Georgia. Came to Georgia. Just incidents happened in my life and pushed me to move around a little bit better. So, yeah, I think I went to Alabama and California by way of Alabama. I went out to Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz?
I lived out there for a couple of years. Best place I've lived in a long time.
What was that like?
Oh, that was every part of nature you can get. There was the ocean there. There was wine there. There was forest there. There was beaches, boardwalks, nice people. People don't blow their horn. It's just a beautiful place to visit. And stay if you can stay. If you got the personality to stay, I advise you to stay. There's nowhere else to be.
That's pretty. When you said that people don't blow their horn, that's funny because I got somebody else I know from New York. He moved to LA around the time when I was living out there. He was like, man, people don't blow their horn out here. It's just wild. Like, do people really be like wilding like that in New York?
Yeah, people be in a rush. Everybody's running behind, or everybody's trying to catch up. However you want it.
That's
And
great.
everybody's in the way. So that's where New York comes with their manners. So they say New York people are aggressive, but no, New York people say, excuse me, because they need you. They need to keep going if you ain't going to keep going.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah, that's what that is.
And being from New York, when you lived other places, do you ever miss home, or are you able to really appreciate other places because it's not like what?
I always miss home. Yeah, but missing home is more like missing certain times at home, certain moments. So I don't know, like when you ask me what's the wildest thing that happened to me in my childhood, it was so many things when you outside that it's hard to just put a direct finger on it, because I don't know what emotion, like the wildest like scared me maybe, or the wildest like I was happy for it. I felt like I was gonna be successful when I grew up, or the wildest like thing I went through with my parents maybe. You know what I mean? There's so many different things to touch on. So if the wildest thing that ever happened to me as a child, it'd probably be my mom dressing me up as a Bible.
Dressing you up as a Bible?
Yeah, I gotta give it to her. I gotta make sure that she gets stamped somewhere in here. You know what I mean? If it ever get out, the wildest thing was we didn't celebrate Halloween, but the church would have things there. So like I said, there was no football, there was church. There was no Halloween, there was church. So my mom put me in the refrigerator box. And that's something that I'll remember no matter how old I am. That would be the wild. I can forget a million things, but I can't forget cutting the holes in the refrigerator box, the cardboard box, it's saying Holy Bible on it, and me sticking my arms through it.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I had to double back on it. There's some other things in there, but yeah, that's pretty much where we gonna stay there. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give credit to that one right there.
Nah, that's funny. So, was your mom like a heavy religious Christian or?
She was just a single mom,
Got it.
and like I said, I felt protected. She felt protected when she was with the Lord. Like when she felt like she was serving God, she felt like that was the easiest way to protect us, protect herself, protect her children, was to do her best at serving God.
No, that's real.
Yeah, so.
And did you have a relationship with your father or?
Oh yeah, I had a relationship with my dad. Yeah, he's a cool person. He's alright. My dad's alright. My dad's solid, man. He's alright. He does what dads do. You know what I mean? He'll warn you, let you know that that's not the way to go. He's thorough in his questioning and stuff like that. Make sure that you're looking at it from all different angles and stuff like that. My dad's one of those critical thinkers that goes to sleep with something on his mind and wakes up with a solution. So I can see where I got that from him, man.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. My dad, yeah, he's super cool, man.
And you said that when you was growing up, you was just with your mom. So like, when did?
Oh no, I was with my grandmother.
Oh, you was with your grandmother.
Yeah, I was with my grandmother till I was old enough to go stay around by my mom. And then, so growing up, my initial first years, I stayed with my grandmother and my great grandmother. So that's what I mean. Like I always look back, I always felt protected. I always felt like somebody would sacrifice their self for me.
Got it.
Like somebody would make sure I was all right at all times.
So, if as far as timeline wise, was it like with your grandmother's up until like 13 and then?
Oh no, so more so like with living with my grandma till about 6, 7. And then moving in with my mom, but still going to my grandma's house as much as I possibly can because I consider that home. And then moving back with my grandma around 13 or 14. Then moving back with my mom around 16 or 17. Then moving back with my mom for like a couple weeks maybe. And then just off to the streets from there. And off to trouble and off to all kinds of other things that just come at people.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And would you say it was, what part of New York did you go?
I'm from Bear Mountain.
Bear Mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a lot of trouble there?
Yeah, we lived in one of the richest counties in America. So we were part of an era where if you weren't obedient, you learned by the things you did. If you didn't know how to stay the right way and just go about things the right way, if you deviated, it was easy to get caught up. So we were from an area where the system implements probations and heavy probations, and laws changed because of where I lived at. And that surrounding area right there. Yeah, we got a jail that's close to us. Frequented. Most of my friends who ever frequented continued to frequent.
So, what was your first experience in jail like?
First time I ever been hungry in a long time. First time I ever been cold in a long time. First time I ever been alone in a long time. It was just isolation. It was the first time I ever felt really isolated. More so than anything. Just going through the bullpen and going through the regular situations and just not knowing and dealing with people that don't have your best interests in heart. Just feeling like I was out. First time I felt unprotected.
No, it makes sense, because, you know, that whole support system that you had is gone.
Yeah, everything is just, yeah. And just them acclimating you with just being in jail. The way they do it, the stages they got, and how it's all set up and stuff like that. It was just completely like something you didn't want to do ever again. Yeah, that was that.
How old were you?
16, 15 and a half, 16 years old. Yeah. So that's what I was saying about going back and forth with grandma and mom. It was like, around 16, it was time to just figure things out.
So you've been pretty much on your own since then?
I've always had my grandmother. I'm never going to say I was on my own. Like I said, I was always the oldest. It was my grandmother's favorite on. So I was always able, like my aunts and certain stuff like that, while those people were alive, I was always able to be all right. I got a certain aunt, my Aunt Janie. I got cousins that was close to me. So, but yeah, I was on my own. But I don't want to take away
From
the fact that, yeah, we was all dependent. I was dependent on them. And I tried to make myself valuable to them. So I didn't feel like I wasn't being a help. But yeah, it's one, like, I got a cousin. One of my favorite cousins, his name is Aaron. He was with he was with a woman, and she looked out for me a lot. Anybody he was with looked out for me a lot. So I had different kind of relationships and stuff like that.
Sounds like you built a solid rapport with people.
Yeah.
Or at least your loved ones.
Mm-hmm. I could say that. I could say I did. I could say they love me and I love them. But love's tried plenty of times. Mm-hmm. Like, love is just tried. I can't say that I don't love them or that they don't love me. But certain relationships they ain't what you wish they were. So when you say, do you miss home? Yeah, I miss home in certain periods of time of being at home. You know what I mean? When things were, like when those relationships were flourishing.
Got it. Mm-hmm. And what would you say is the hardest lesson you've had to learn?
Accepting your faults. Accepting the things you wish you can change. Accepting yourself. That's probably the hardest lesson, just acceptance. Acceptance is definitely the hardest lesson I ever had to learn. Accepting if you're in jail, just accepting what you got yourself into. Accepting that your situation is something you may have created, or if you didn't create it, accepting it, that you got to accept it to get out of it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so acceptance is definitely my hardest lesson.
And at what age would you say you learned that? That's something you learned recently, or is it like something that you've always kind of battled with?
Oh, right when you think you learn that, something else pops up. I think that's a lesson.
It's a lifelong thing.
I think it is. I think it's part of healing. I think it's just part of everything. So I can't say I never can say I'm never gonna say I mastered that right there. I don't want that coming back on me the wrong way.
No, I feel that.
Yeah, I always want to be a humble student to acceptance.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't like a chick that feel like that.
And what would you say is the best thing that you've seen and or felt?
The love of God, hands down. Love is something that you know is not you, or a situation working out with the right time and the perfect timing that you can't give credit to nobody else for. The the fact that I love God enough to believe that there is a God. Some people don't even believe. Some people God didn't even allow to believe that He is a God. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the fact that the love of God like that right there has to be the one thing, like that feeling of protection, safety, and um, forgiveness. When you feel bad about something that you did inside yourself, you know what I mean? Man, I shouldn't be like that, or I shouldn't do that right there. That to me is the love of God, when He allows you to humble yourself or redirect yourself, so you don't feel like you can't ask Him for anything, or you're not in His graces.
Right.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that power right there.
That was
That's a
beautifully said.
superpower right there. Like, yeah.
And would you say that? Do you think that your relationship with God would be what it was if it wasn't for coming up like with around your mother and people who were heavily in touch?
My grandfather, my grandmother, my mother, my aunt Feenie, my aunt Janie. Um, there's so many more people when it comes to that foundation that goes right there. So my mom put me, my grandma, we went to a Baptist church. My mom got me into a non-denominational church. And the non-denominational church allowed me to meet people from different races at a young age and learn different cultures at a young age, and to be able to absorb different mannerisms and different things like that. But my grandfather put the fear of God in me. He did it. Nobody could have made me fear like the way my grandfather explained it to me or broke it down to me. My grandmother prayed for me constantly, like constantly. My mom, when she didn't know what was the best direction for me, brought me to where she thought I would be the safest, which was taking me from football to church or doing certain things like that when it came to me. So yeah, I think that the people that I was assigned to, my family, blood family, I think they did a beautiful job handing me over to the Lord.
And you said you spoke on your grandfather is the one who really put that the fear of God in you. How did he do that?
I never not compromising it, by not by making me interested in it enough for it to be effectual. Some people say, "Oh, it's a lie here. This is this is that, or this is that, this is that." By him just line upon line and precept upon precept, making me uncompromisable when it comes to my belief system. When it comes to that, like when it comes to like teaching me how to study, or letting me know that correction is perfection, and that obedience is better than sacrifice. just certain things, and then when I would deviate, me God being quick with me, I get I have a conscience. There's something in me that is right is right, wrong is wrong. It's that simple. It's that it happens that fast if I go the wrong way. I don't get to go down the wrong way for a long time.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't get to
Always
sit
like
in it.
a correct course type of.
Yeah, I don't get to sit in it and have fun in it like that. So yeah, so that's what makes me appreciate that part of it.
And what would you say is the scariest experience you've had?
Nothing scares me except motorcycles zooming past me when I'm driving. That's the only thing that gets me. I'm not a boo guy. But when I'm driving and that motorcycle goes zoom, it's like, oh man, that's the only thing that gets me. I'm not afraid like that.
Nah,
I've been through some things, and I can say that I stressed about them, but I have to call it stress. I can't call it fear. I can't say I was afraid. I don't really get afraid like that. Like, I just don't know. It's another gift. I don't get scared.
Nah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the motorcycles, those, they got me. Can't lie, the motorcycles have me. I shake in my boots, man. When somebody zips past me. Does it scare you? If you don't like you driving and you don't see it coming.
I wasn't expecting it. It was like, oh. I mean, it aggravates me more than anything. I don't like loud stuff like that.
But it
I
doesn't
like loud music, but
it doesn't just scare. Doesn't scare. That's scare. That's when I feel. So that's what I equate fear with. That feeling, right? That kind of aggravation. Then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that kind of startlement. So I don't know. I guess that's the best way I can answer it.
You good?
Okay, my bad.
Yo.
What are we good?
Yeah, we good.
Yo, what's up, boy?
But what would you say?
You want me to give you something better than I do? Is that right answer? Yeah, because that's what that's the answer.
Listen, there's no such thing as right or wrong answers.
All right, cool.
It's what you say is what it is. You feel me?
That's what it was.
All right. What season would you say you're in your life right now?
Healing.
Healing.
2,000,000%. I'm in recovery right now. When I come up out of this recovery though, taking proper time.
And what would you say you're healing from exactly?
Oh, everything. Getting to this point. Mentally. Mental challenges. Just healing from all of that. Relationships. Healing from not compromising. Healing from a lot. Healing from disappointments. Just healing.
In all aspects.
Yeah, like a full-fledged healing. And I'm so comfortable in this healing that I'm gonna double check before I make a move when I come out of it. Yeah, I'm in the healing season right now.
And do you have any morals or beliefs that you live by?
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
I like that one. I tend to follow that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, one more you hang your hat on, but really, yeah, let's treat others the way you want to be treated. Important, super important. And acceptance, I'm hanging my hat on that because I said that's like the hardest thing to learn. So if I treat somebody the way I want to be treated and I don't get that reciprocated, I'm off to acceptance.
Yeah. That's a real way of putting it.
And I mean, the caveat or the cherry on top would be just knowing myself, knowing how I am when it comes to certain things and how I react, and just what I want to project energy-wise from me. What kind of energy I want to bring to what's appropriate for
What's
the
appropriate for the situation.
Right.
Got
Just
it.
staying within that appropriate energy.
And what would you say the journey of learning yourself has been like?
Impatient. It's been something that you can work at as hard as you want to work at. But the fruit from it is not going to come without the patience. Sometimes it's just something you can't fix at a certain point in time. And patience is what it's going to take to fix it. So, and patient.
And do you feel as though knowing yourself is important?
Most important. Know whose you are and who you are is super important. It's like you almost need one to understand the other.
They go hand in hand.
Top of the hand, bottom of the hand.
No, that makes sense.
This is I am. Oh, that's who I am.
And what would you say is the biggest achievement if you had to, you was to be like, this is my trophy moment. What would you say your trophy moment is in this season of your life?
My biggest achievement would be not taking advantage of other people for my gain. Building myself on that.
No, I would say that's a pretty big and hard to difficult standard of life to hold yourself to.
Yeah, that's my biggest achievement. I was a big taker. Phil Barnes. So me not taking advantage of other people to fill my barns, my coffers, is my biggest achievement.
And what's something that you want to do moving forward or want to get better at?
Me?
Yeah.
Acceptance. It's
No.
almost like, but something I want to do better or something I want to achieve. I want to have a healthy relationship with all my loved ones. I want to have the tolerance, the patience, the understanding, the forgiveness, the gentleness, the kindness, the self-control for all the relationships that I have had in my life, to accept them on whatever level is best for all of us. That's something I want to see myself achieving. Because I was making myself responsible with the taking that I was doing. Understand?
Yeah.
So when I was taking down Barnes, I told you I took a big taker. And that gave me responsibilities that when I didn't want to take no more, I wasn't able to maintain. And that gave me disappointment in myself. Other people may have been able to accept it. The patience that I needed for my transition frustrated me and caused stress and strain on certain relationships. That's why I said it's all love. Love is love. But dang, where I would like to see him at.
And what would you say, in your opinion, how powerful is love?
Love has the trying to measure it. Love's immeasurable. I searched for a minute, so it took me so long to answer. Not a minute, but I searched myself for a while to figure out where could you reach the bound of love and be able to present it and say, this is how powerful it is. And it's not. I can't give you a minute.
No,
It's so powerful that it's
can't be spoken, only
right.
Only felt.
It can't be. Yeah, I need more to express it.
Got it.
I need somebody else to express it. Love is so powerful. You need help.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say? Have you ever been in love, like in a relationship type of
Plenty
dynamic?
of times. Love a boy. Love what? What?
What was that like?
Hell. Love is terrible. That's what I mean. You can't measure it. It can go either way. Love could go either way. And it's hot, as good as love could get, it's as bad as it could be. Love is like, whoa. You gotta think about what love really is. That's what I'm trying to say. You gotta think of how much you're willing to forgive somebody. How much you're willing to sacrifice for somebody. What you're willing to give. Love, like, what about when you give it and it's being rejected? How it makes you feel.
Right.
When you're giving love out and it's being rejected, or when you're giving it out, it's not being reciprocated. Or what about when you're giving love out and you're getting it back? And then what about if you got to share that love? Love is terrible.
Yeah.
In any which way you look at it, it's never a fair shake.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I don't think I've ever heard anybody put it that way.
I mean, that's just what came from my heart to tell you. Like I didn't know that question before you. I didn't know you was gonna ask me that. That's how I felt about it, though. When I was in it, I would do anything for it.
And would you say your views on love has changed now?
No, I mean, great ride. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. But I mean, like, have understanding. Let's understand that we're gonna forgive each other like we want to be forgiven. We're gonna tolerate each other like we want to be tolerated. We're just gonna treat each other.
Would you say your values have ever changed over time, or do you feel like you still, the values you set when you were like, how did 18, do you still stand on those, or have things changed and things prioritized differently as you got older?
I feel like the ground didn't move, but my perception on how to land is definitely different now. I feel like yes, it's a couple things I put down that I wouldn't go back to. So I can see how my views and values changed in that. There's some things that I did that I'll never do again. Even if I was forced or hungry, I wouldn't do no more. I feel like from that time to now, my faith is the faith that I put in my measure has grown. I feel like if everybody's given a certain measure of faith, like everybody can fill up to here. If it was here, now it may be here. Or if it was here, now it may be here. Or if it was here, now it may be here. I don't feel like it's decreased, though. I just feel like certain things I wasn't exposed to or certain situations I didn't go through to know how to handle them again, or how to tell somebody else how to handle them. Because I was being initiated into them. But now I know that I would tell somebody else something and I wouldn't sit back and watch them make the same mistake that I made. I know I'm not that kind of person. So I feel like I have more to get, have more to offer now than I had when I was then. Even if it's less material, you know what I mean? I feel like I just...
And you said something that drew a question. What would you say is the biggest mistake that you've made?
Not appreciating myself as much as I should. Allowing certain days to pass where I didn't appreciate me.
And where do you feel as though that stemmed from? Kind of being stretched too thin from, like, or what?
Just trials and tribulations. You gotta go through things. But looking at them as I'm going through things opposed to I got through some things is what I mean about appreciating myself. Oh, I took care of that, I could take care of that. As opposed to that's coming now. Or that's the next thing or something. Letting victories fade.
Not smelling your flowers.
Just being in a battle for a long time with something, getting a victory from it, and then not appreciating that victory as long as I was in the battle over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Waiting on something to happen and it finally happened, and then not being thankful for as long as I waited for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Almost like not appreciating, not taking myself for granted. Taking what I'm blessed with for granted, or how I've been blessed for granted. That's what I think.
No, that's real.
That's that one.
what advice would you give to a a teenager in today's society or in present time per se?
Respect yourself like you royalty. Do what's preferred for you. Treat people the way that you want to be treated, so everybody will be preferred. Be kind. I'm not saying be nice, I'm saying be kind.
What would you say the difference between those two?
That's a good question. I'm kind. I'm not nice. So, it's the difference between me and them, I guess. Or them and me. Alright. Nice.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question, but be kind. Don't worry about being nice. It almost seems like nice guys finish last, or nice guys get taken advantage of, or nice can be misconstrued. Being kind, you're not looking for nothing back in return. It's who you are. Feels like it's hitting more on that line. You're not doing something looking for recognition. It's just who you are. You're just kind.
Yeah. Feel as though you brought that in nicely.
I think that's what that. For me, I feel like I'm a kind person. So that's me being myself. But I don't think I'm nice. I think sometimes I could be sharp, or sometimes I can be short, or not wanting to deal with nonsense or stuff like that. Not wanting to be taken advantage of. But I don't think that takes away from my kindness.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
And to wrap it up, what would you like to leave with the audience?
This was a beautiful experience right here. That I'm proud of you. And I appreciate you sitting down, taking this time out of your day. That I agreed to do this, because not that I'm interested, or I felt like I was an interesting person, but I just wanted to support you and see you be successful. That I think you got big things ahead of you. I think your work ethic is getting close to mine. Think I could show you what impeccable looks like one day. You know what I mean? I like the energy that you bring to any atmosphere you in. I appreciate the hard work it looks like you put into getting your equipment together and your professionalism. Thank you for an opportunity to be able for me to have something I could look back on later on in life and assess myself from. I like to see your growth. I'm happy for you. I want you to drive safe. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what I would like. That's what I would like to leave everybody with.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate you for taking the time and, agreeing to do this, because it takes a lot to tell your story, essentially.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the reasons why I started this is because I feel like a lot of people never get a platform to tell their story,
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's important to shine out on yourself sometimes, because it's a confidence thing, but it's also an internal thing. I feel like it affects how you value yourself and how you view yourself in certain ways. So I'm just doing my part to make sure everybody feels heard.
You did a great job.
For sure.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
Job.
That's a wrap.
All right. All right, thank you. Yeah, you did good, man.